It was 5:47 a.m. in Ikoyi. The air, thick with the smell of diesel from the Zenith Bank generator, was a humid blanket. This early, the queue was for desperate people. Daniel Okoli, a man who just 3 months ago gave a toast at the Ikoyi club about men being the head, the provider, the king, was kneeling. He was kneeling on the damp pavement, his 300,000 naira Italian suit trousers soaking up the morning grime. He was kneeling in the ATM queue, begging. His wife, Grace, stood over him. She held a 3-day-old baby, her wrapper stained with breast milk and sweat. She had been locked out of their Banana Island mansion. "Grace, please," Daniel whispered, his voice cracking. The bank security guard, a man he had never once looked at, watched with bored eyes. "Just the code, the 1,000 naira, I need to buy fuel." The fuel was for the metallic black Range Rover Evoque parked beside them, glinting under the yellow security lights. A car he was still paying off, the car he had used to drive his new woman, Princess, just the night before. Grace's hands were shaking. The 1,000 naira was the last money she had on earth. It was cash, hidden in her bra. Money she had earned from sewing face masks by hand, in the dark, in the maid's room he had assigned her. "Daniel, how can you ask me this?" she whispered, her voice raw. "Just give me the code," he hissed, his shame turning to anger. "Are you mad? People are watching." The tall gates of the bank compound, the humid Lagos air, the insistent whine of the ATM, it all felt like a nightmare. Grace looked at her sleeping baby, then at the man who had systematically erased her. She looked at the Range Rover, then at her own cracked, dusty slippers. A first-class BSc in accounting, a former senior auditor, a new mother, and she was standing by a roadside ATM, her husband begging her for the last 1,000 naira she had to her name. How did it come to this? It had started 4 months earlier. It started with a promotion, an email, and the 4 words that every ambitious woman dreads. "My wife will not work." The celebration was loud. Daniel had just been promoted to executive director at his oil services firm. The scent of his Creed Aventus perfume, a scent Grace had bought him, filled the marble living room. The AC was on full blast, chilling the air. "That's it, my love." He poured a glass of 18-year-old Glenfiddich. "We've arrived." Grace smiled, her fingers flying across her keyboard. "Almost done, baby. This report is a killer. My boss Bookie thinks we might land the Shell account because of this." Daniel's smile tightened. He put his phone down. His promotion was his. Her success, announced on the same day, felt like a rival. He needed to be the only provider, the only star. He walked over. He snapped her laptop shut. The click was loud in the quiet room. "What are you doing?" "Daniel, I'll lose my work." "Grace," he said, his voice dangerously calm. "Listen to me. We are not a we. I have arrived. I am the provider. Your little auditing game was cute when we were struggling." "Struggling?" Her voice was sharp. "Daniel, my salary pays for this light. It pays for the DSTV. It pays for the groceries you and your friends consume." "No wife of mine will work," he declared, his voice rising. He puffed out his chest, the new AD. "I will not be embarrassed at the club. I will not have men asking if my 4 million naira monthly salary is not enough to feed my house." He picked up his iPhone, the new one, the one she had queued to get for his birthday. "What's your HR manager's name?" "Bookie." "Daniel, don't you dare." He was typing, his thumb moving fast. "It's done," he said. He forwarded the email to her, a copy for his records. She fumbled for her own phone, her hands trembling. She read it, her blood turned to ice. Subject: Resignation of Grace Okoli. "Dear Bookie, effective immediately, my wife Grace will be resigning to assume her new role as a full-time queen and mother. Her services are no longer required. All her outstanding dues and entitlements should be paid to my account. Details below. We thank you for the opportunity. Daniel Okoli, Executive Director." Her chest felt like the third mainland bridge at 5 p.m. Everything jammed. Her throat closed. "You can't do this," she whispered. "I just did," he said, sipping his whiskey. Go and rest. You're pregnant. A queen should not stress herself with spreadsheets. She wanted to scream. She wanted to throw the glass from his hand, but she didn't. She just stood there swallowing the bitter medicine of his pride. Her phone buzzed. It was Buki. Buki, Grace, what is this email? Is this a joke? Call me. Grace's hands trembled so hard she could barely type. This was the first witness, the first person to see her humiliation. Grace, I'm so sorry, Buki. It's not a joke. It's a family decision. I'm resigning. She had to confirm her own execution. She walked past him, went to their master bathroom, and was quietly seeking to the toilet. Through the closed door, she heard him on the phone laughing with his friend Kunle. Yes, my guy, I've retired her. She's a full-time housewife now. Total control. That's how to be a man. She flushed the toilet, the sound of the water drowning out her first sob. Another piece of her, the first and most important piece, was gone. 2 weeks had passed. The queen was a prisoner. Daniel had taken her car keys. My driver would take you where you need to go. He had taken her credit cards. Just use the joint account debit card. It's all you need. She was at the checkout counter, her 8-month baby bump obvious. The cashier, a young woman with tired eyes, scanned her items. Prenatal vitamins, folic acid, baby formula, diapers, a tin of pig milk. That'll be 38,500, madam, the cashier said. Grace slotted the debit card, the one Daniel had given her, the one linked to the account her salary used to be paid into. She ran it. Beep, beep, beep. Declined, madam. Grace frowned, her face hot. That's not possible. Try again. The cashier tried again. Insufficient. Insufficient. Grace's voice was small. She could feel the eyes of the people in the queue. Ah, madam. If you don't have money, step aside, I beg. Sun is hot outside. No, I have money, she insisted, her face burning. There must be a mistake. Please just try one more time. Madam, look. The cashier showed her the screen. Decline. Insufficient. Just then, a sharp, sugary perfume cut through the air. A laughter followed. Is that not Mrs. Okoli? Princess, an Instagram influencer Daniel had been mentoring, waltzed to the front of the line. She wore skin-tight leggings and a Balenciaga crop top. Her nails long and pearly. Her basket was full of Moet champagne and imported strawberries. Princess looked at the items on the counter, the vitamins, the baby milk. Auntie, you are buying baby things, Abi? Shopping for yourself? Just let me pay for my own things, dear. Princess tapped her own card on the POS. Grace recognized it. It was her card. The gold-plated debit card from her private premium account. The one Daniel had said he caught up. Beep. Approved. The cashier, now smiling at Princess, began to bag the champagne. Thank you, madam. A woman in the queue whispered to her friend, Jesus, that's the side chick. See her nails. Another man just shook his head, looking at Grace with pity. The cashier won't even look at her. Princess smiled and picked up her bags. You see, auntie, a queen doesn't stress herself with POS. She just tells her king what she wants and he provides. She sauntered out, her heels clicking on the tile. Grace stood there. The queue was staring. The cashier looked at her with pity. Madam, will you pay or should I return the items? Grace's throat felt like it had been scraped with sand. Return them, she whispered. She walked out of the supermarket empty-handed. Her vitamins, her baby's milk, all left behind on the counter. She had no money for a taxi. She had to call Daniel's driver, Emmanuel, and wait for 45 minutes by the roadside, sweating in the sun. Her cracked phone screen dimming. She saw Princess's Instagram story later, sent to her by a shocked friend. A video of the champagne bottles in the Range Rover. Caption: Some people are buying Pampers. Some of us are popping bottles. Know your level. Hashtag Queen Life. Hashtag Soft Living. Hashtag His Fave. Grace hoped Daniel's family would be a comfort. They had always liked her. They arrived for Sunday rice. Grace, despite her fatigue, had cooked. Pounded yam, egusi and jollof rice. Ah, Mama, welcome, Grace said, kneeling slightly to greet her mother-in-law. Mama just grunted, her eyes scanning Grace from top to bottom. You are getting fat. This sitting at home is making you lazy.
Funke, the elder sister, chimed in. Mama is right. At least when they were walking, you looked sharp. Now you just look wide. The trigger was her pregnancy, her vulnerability. They saw it as weakness. Grace tried to smile. I'm pregnant, Funke. I'm supposed to gain weight. It's not your mates that are pregnant and still look like models, Biola said, looking at her phone. Like Princess, the influencer, Daniel says he's his new business partner. She's so fine. Grace's blood ran cold. He told you about her? Of course, Mama said, settling into the best sofa. A man like my son must have options. A full-time wife is good, but a man must also enjoy life. Daniel walked in, smiling. Ah, my queens are here. He kissed his mother, hugged his sisters, and completely ignored Grace.
Serve us, Yahoo, Mama commanded, pointing at the dining table. Your husband and his family are hungry. Grace, her back aching and her feet swollen, began to dish out the food. She served Daniel first. He tasted the jollof. It's bland, he said, pushing the plate away. This is what you do all day, sit in AC, and you can't even cook rice properly? Daniel, I used the same recipe. Be quiet, Mama snapped. Are you arguing with your husband? A man who retired you, who gave you a soft life. You should be kneeling to thank him every morning. She's ungrateful, Funke said, filing her nails. My friend's husband also retired her. She washes his feet every night. What do you do for Daniel? Just sit and eat his money. Grace's hands were shaking. She was holding a hot plate of egusi. Look at her, said Daniel with disgust. Useless. This is why I need someone like Princess. Someone sharp. Someone who knows how to treat a king. He stood up. I'm going out. I've lost my appetite. He grabbed his car keys. The three women watched him go. Then they turned their eyes back to Grace. You see, Mama said, you have driven him out. Now, pack this food and go and wash our clothes. Since you are not working, you must be useful. Grace stood there, surrounded by the food she had cooked. Her chest felt tight. She wanted to tell them Princess was wearing her clothes, driving her car, spending her money. But she said nothing. She just nodded, her head bowed. Yes, Mama. The maids in the kitchen, Titi and Bola, were listening. Titi was crying silently into a dish rag. Bola just shook her head, whispering, wickedness, pure wickedness. Grace packed the plates. She heard the sisters laughing in the living room, watching television, as she went to the laundry room. Her back was screaming in pain. Her baby kicked as if in protest. I'm sorry, she whispered to her belly. I'm so sorry. She felt another layer of her dignity peel away. The humiliation was no longer just from him. It was from his entire family. The pains had started at midnight. Daniel had refused to drive her. Is it not just contraction? He yelled from the master bedroom where Princess was. My mother gave birth to me in the village, under a mango tree. Stop being weak. Emmanuel, the driver, had to steal the spare car key to get her there. Now she was screaming. The pain was unbearable, a white-hot fire. Please, she begged the matron. The epidural. I need the epidural. My husband paid for the premium plan, the Lagon Gold plan. The matron, a stern older woman, looked at her file. Yes, you have a plan. Let me run the card. She came back 5 minutes later. Her face was hard. It says a card is declined. What? Grace cried, a new contraction ripping through her. That's impossible. It's our hospital card. He pays for it from his company. It's automatic. It says cancelled by primary holder 2 days ago. No, please, he wouldn't. So you will pay by cash or transfer, the matron said, unmoved. The epidural is 150,000 naira. Do you have it? Grace's word dissolved. She had no cash. She had no card. Daniel had cut her off completely. I don't have it, she wept, her body shaking. Then you will bear it like a strong woman, the matron said, unsympathetic. Nurse, prepare her. Natural birth, no drugs. The younger nurse, a woman named Chioma, looked at Grace with deep pity. She whispered, sorry, madam, but the matron shot her a look and she hurried away. As if the moment wasn't hell enough, a new terror appeared. Princess.
She walked in holding her phone up, the screen bright. She was already recording. "Auntie, is everything okay?" she cooed, with her voice dripping with fake concern. "My baby Daniel said you are in labor. He's worried." "Get out!" Grace screamed, clutching the bed sheets. "Oh, I heard the card declined," she said loudly for the nurses and other patients to hear. "Don't worry, I brought you cash." She pulled 5,000 naira from her purse and threw it on the bed. The note fluttered onto Grace's trembling legs. "This one is for water and Fanta," Princess sneered. The phone was pointed right at Grace's face. She was live streaming on Instagram. The comment section was flying. "My followers," she said to her phone, "look at this strong woman. Her husband said she's stubborn. That is why her card declined. She wants epidural, but is pregnancy not for strong women? Are our mothers not strong?" The nurses were watching, whispering. Another patient in the ward was shaking her head. Grace was exposed, in pain, her body failing her, being mocked live for thousands. "Please stop! Get her out!" she begged. Princess zoomed in on Grace's face, sleek with sweat and tears. "Look at her. Is this not the wife of a whole ED? Shame, she's just a beggar." The matron finally stepped in, not out of kindness but to protect hospital policy. "You, get out! No phones in the delivery ward. Security!" Princess laughed, ending the stream. "Okay, matron, I've tried my best. Auntie, push well, oh." She sashayed out, the scent of her perfume lingering like poison. Grace's scream was not from the contraction. It was from her soul. She gave birth an hour later, biting down on a hospital sheet, her dignity in shreds, as the young nurse, Chioma, silently wiped her face. Emmanuel helped her out of the car. She was weak, her stitches burning. Her baby, David, wrapped in a thin cloth her friend had bought. She walked into the house she had helped before. It was quiet, too quiet. "Daniel," she called, her voice weak. The maids, Titi and Bola, came out of the kitchen. They wouldn't meet her eyes. Their faces were swollen. "Madam, welcome," Titi whispered, her eyes full of pity. "Where is my husband? Help me take the baby to the room. I need to lie down." Grace walked up the marble staircase, leaning heavily on the rail. Each step was agony. She reached the master bedroom. She pushed the door. It didn't budge. She pushed again. "Daniel, open the door, it's me." She heard a giggle from inside, a female giggle. Then Daniel's voice. "Who is that?" "It's me, Daniel, your wife. I'm back from the hospital." The door opened a crack. Daniel stood there, wearing only a silk robe. "Oh, you're back." He opened the door wider. Grace's heart stopped. Princess was sitting on her bed, wearing her silk robe, painting her toenails. The room smelled of a cheap, sweet perfume, mixed with something else. Weed. "Babe," Princess said, not looking up. "Tell her to stop shouting. The baby might be asleep." Grace felt the floor drop out from under her. What is she doing here? In our bed?" "Princess is the new queen of this house," Daniel said, his face blank. "I told you, your role was mother, not wife, and I've upgraded." "She's in my bed. Daniel, I just gave birth. I'm bleeding." "And you are bleeding," he said, as if he had made his point. "You can't stay in my bed like that. It's unhygienic. I just bought these Egyptian cotton sheets." He pointed down the hall. "Your things are in the BQ, the old maid's room, by the generator." The maid's room? "Yes, it's more practical. You will be waking up at night to breastfeed. You won't disturb me and Princess." Titi and Bola were at the bottom of the stairs, watching. Titi was crying openly now. Emmanuel was frozen at the front door. His fists clenched so hard his knuckles were white. "Daniel, please," Grace begged, her voice breaking. The baby started to force. I am your wife. This is my son. He is my son, Daniel corrected. And as his father, I'm deciding what is best. Go to the BQ, Grace. Don't make a scene. He tossed the key at her feet. It skittered across the marble floor with a cold, metallic sound. You are not fit to be in the main house anymore. He closed the door. She heard the soft beep click of the new biometric lock. She stood there for a full minute, her baby staring in her arms. She looked at the key on the floor. She looked at the maids who were crying silently. Slowly, she bent down, her stitches pulling so hard she almost screamed. She picked up the key. She walked back down the stairs, past the silent staff and out the back door. The BQ was a small windowless room by the generator shed. It smelled of insecticide and damp. A small, hard cot was the only furniture. She sat on the cot. She looked at her son. God, she whispered, her voice hollow. How much more? The generator roared to life outside her new home, drowning out her baby's first cry. She had no money, no food. The maid snuck her leftovers when Daniel wasn't looking. A friend from her old job, shocked to hear what was happening, had offered to send a pack of diapers via a dispatch rider. The estate security wouldn't let the rider in. No deliveries for the BQ, they were instructed. Grace had to walk with her week-old baby. It was a 15-minute walk from the house to the main gate, under the scorching 2 p.m. sun. She was sweating, her wrapper loose, her old slippers flapping on the hot asphalt. She hadn't eaten. Neighbors watched from their air-conditioned homes. They saw the ED's wife, the full-time queen, trekking like a maid, her baby on her back. She reached the gate, collected the small pack of diapers, and turned to walk back. Just then, a brand new white G-Wagon, still in its nylon, honked aggressively. Princess was at the wheel. Daniel was in the passenger seat, laughing. Princess slowed down, rolling down the tinted window. "Auntie!" she yelled, loud enough for the guards to hear. "You are trekking in this sun with the baby? Hey, sorry, oh." The very existence of Grace's charity, her refusal to disappear. Princess revved the engine. "Daniel just bought me my new toy. Money ride." She sped off, deliberately driving through a muddy puddle. Brown, filthy water splashed all over Grace and her baby. The baby started to wail. Grace just stood there, wiping the filth from her baby's face with the corner of her wrapper. The security guards looked away, whistling, pretending they saw nothing. One of them, a younger man, looked horrified, but his superior shot him a warning glance. Grace's phone buzzed. It was a notification. She had been added to the Banana Island Residents WhatsApp group. She didn't know Daniel had reactivated her line, just so she could see this. The messages were flying. A neighbor, Mrs. Alakija from number 12, had posted a photo taken from her upstairs window. A screenshot of Grace trekking, tiny and pathetic, under the sun. "Mrs. Alakija, is this not Daniel Okoli's wife? Why is she trekking with a newborn?" "Mr. Badejo, plot 7. I saw her too. Looked very rough. Things tough, abi? This oil and gas men." Unknown number. "LOL, that's the old wife. She lives in the BQ now. He has a new one." "Mrs. Alakija, the BQ with the generators? What kind of wickedness is this?" Then a new post. It was Princess. She posted a picture of herself kissing the steering wheel of the G-Wagon. "Money ride in my new toy. God is good. Hubby just blessed me. Blessed. Queen life. His favorite, Mrs. Okoli." The group went silent. The contrast was deliberate. It was brutal. Grace's phone screen cracked as her tears hit it. She read the screenshot of a shame shared for all her high-class neighbors to see, and she turned off the main road, hiding behind a large hibiscus bush, and cried until her milk came in hot and painful.
Grace believed the church would be a sanctuary. If she could just talk to their senior pastor, Pastor Ade, he would call Daniel to order. They had been Founders Circle members, tithing millions. She had to beg Emmanuel to drop her off, pretending she was going to the market. She waited for 2 hours. Finally, the PA let her in. The office was cold. The AC was high. Pastor Ade sat behind a huge mahogany desk. "Sister Grace," he said, not standing up, "what is this urgent matter?" Grace, her baby in her arms, burst into tears. She told him everything: the email, the BQ, Princess, the hospital, the G-Wagon. "He's replaced me, Pastor. He locked me out. I'm living in the BQ with my son. I have no money. Please, talk to him." Pastor Ade listened, stippling his fingers. When she was done, he sighed. "Sister Grace," he said, his voice smooth, "a wife's crown is her husband. But Pastor, Have you been submissive, Sister Grace?" The question was a slap. "Submissive? I gave up my job. He's committing adultery in our home." "The Bible says," Pastor Ade continued, "that a wife must win over her unbelieving, or, in this case, straying husband with her quiet and gentle spirit." "Quiet? Pastor, I'm starving." "Are you?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "You look well fed." "Sister Grace, Daniel is a pillar in this church. He is a kingdom financier. A man like that is under a lot of pressure, spiritual attack." "Princess is not a spiritual attack, sir. She is a person." "She is a temptation," he corrected, "sent by the devil to test your marriage, and you are failing the test. You are here reporting your husband instead of being at home praying for him." The PA, a young woman, watched with cold, judgmental eyes. Grace's hope curdled. "So, you won't help me?" "I will pray for you," Pastor Ade said, standing. The meeting was over. "Go home, Grace. Kneel down, apologize to your husband for being unsubmissive, create a peaceful environment, cook for him, win him back." He locked me in the BQ, sir. I can't even enter the house to cook." "Then pray at the door of the BQ," the pastor said, his voice rising. "Pray until the walls of Jericho fall. Your complaining spirit is what is driving him into the arms of this princess." He looked at her, his eyes hard. "Do not bring this matter to me again. We don't air our dirty laundry here. This is the house of God. Go and submit." Grace's legs felt like lead. Her chest was hollow. She had come for a shepherd and found a wolf. She walked out of the office, past the sympathetic looks of other church members in the waiting room. They had heard the pastor's raised voice. They just shook their heads. She walked out of the church. She had to walk all the way to the bus stop. The one place she thought she would find God, she found only judgment. Despite the cruelty of the pastor, Grace was desperate. She needed a miracle. She needed to be in God's presence. She wore her only clean wrapper, ironed over a hot bulb in the BQ. Her baby was clean. She walked in during the prayer session. The usher, a woman who knew her well, Sister Funke, stopped her. "Ah, Sister Grace, welcome," she said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "You are late." "I'm sorry, I had to walk to the bus stop." No, it's fine, but you have a baby." "Yes, my son David. He's beautiful, but you know the rules from pastor. Mothers with new babies are not allowed in the main sanctuary. They distract the service." Pastor Ade was very clear. "Distract?" Grace looked around.
The church was huge. I can sit in the very back. He is asleep. No, Sister Funke said, No, Sister Funke. No, sister, we have a place for you. She pointed to a sign. The mother's cry room is outside by the toilets. Grace's heart sank. The cry room was a small, hot room with a tiny, fuzzy TV screen, smelling of disinfectant. But Sister Funke, please don't argue. We must obey the rules. As she was leading her out, a commotion happened at the main door. Daniel and Princess had arrived. Daniel was in a white starched agbada, shining. Princess was in a gold lace aswebi, and aswebi Grace had picked out for her own child dedication. Sister Funke's entire demeanor changed. Idi Okoli, welcome, sir. Madam, welcome. Thank you, Osha, Daniel said, slipping a 5,000 naira note into her hand. We are here to give thanks. Of course, please follow me. Sister Funke personally escorted Daniel and Princess to the very front pew, the VIP section, reserved for senior pastors and guests. Grace stood by the door, holding her baby. The pastor mounted the pulpit. We have a special guest today, a man whom God has blessed, a true kingdom financier, Executive Director Daniel Okoli. Stand up, let the church welcome him. Daniel stood. Princess stood with him, fanning herself. The Jumbotron screen zoomed in on their smiling faces. And he has been blessed with a new baby, the pastor boomed. Grace thought, he will call me. He has to call me. This is the moment. The pastor continued, and his lovely, supportive wife, Mrs. Princess Okoli, is here with him. Hallelujah. This is the picture of a kingdom marriage. The church applauded. Princess waved, blowing a kiss at the camera. Grace was invisible. Her son, the actual new baby, was not acknowledged. She had been replaced in the house of God. Sister Funke came back, her face stern. Sister Grace, I told you, go to the cry room. You are blocking the entrance. The entire congregation watched. They saw her, the former wife, being told to leave while the new one was celebrated. They murmured, this is not Christian, but that's Daniel Okoli. You can't challenge him. Grace turned and walked out. She didn't go to the cry room. She sat on the steps by the toilet, the loud hallelujah from inside mocking her pain. She stayed there until the service ended, her baby sleeping, unaware of his own erasure.
Grace knew she had to get out. She was using the last bits of data on her phone, which she'd managed to get by begging Emmanuel for 1,000 naira. She was on LinkedIn, her last hope. Her BSc was all she had left. She was scrolling when the email came in. It was from Buki, her old HR manager. The subject line made her stomach clench. Subject, FW, goodwill messages for Grace Okoli, please disregard, updated. She opened it. Buki had forwarded an email trail. The first email was from Daniel's official work address. From Daniel Okoli to Buki, HR. Dear Buki, please send this message to all staff. Dear team, as you know, my former wife, Grace, voluntarily resigned. I'm happy to announce that I have been blessed with a new baby with my new wife, Mrs. Princess Okoli. Grace has been struggling with some mental and emotional issues post-resignation, so please direct all goodwill messages to me and Princess. We thank you for your support as we move on to our new chapter. Buki had then forwarded this to the entire company. But the new email, the one Grace just received, was a retraction. From Buki, HR, to all staff. Dear team, please disregard the previous email. It has come to our attention that Grace Okoli did not voluntarily resign. Her email was sent by her husband. The company has received this information and is processing it. Furthermore, we have just been alerted that Mrs. Princess Okoli is not Daniel's legal wife. Grace Okoli remains his only legal wife. We apologize to Grace for this gross violation of her privacy and dignity. We are sending goodwill messages to her and her new baby. Management. Grace said, this wasn't humiliation. This was confusion. Then her phone buzzed. A new email from her former CEO. Subject, Grace, urgent.
Dear Grace, I am horrified. I just saw the email thread. Daniel sending that from his official account? I've looked in his company's chairman. But Grace, that's not why I'm emailing. Daniel's HR just contacted ours. His company is doing a full audit. They have suspended him. They are asking for your records. They say his suspension is linked to financial misconduct, and your name is on the documents. Call me. Grace read it 3 times. My name is on the documents? He had not just fired her, replaced her, and locked her out. He was framing her. The phone screen was blurry. She let it fall from her hand. This was no longer just humiliation. This was a war. And he was using her first-class degree as his primary weapon. Grace knew she was in a fight for her life. She sold her last piece of gold jewelry, a necklace her mother gave her, for 20,000 naira. She bought a small, rickety second-hand sewing machine and a small, cheap phone. She was an accountant, but she could sew. At 2 a.m., while the generator was off and the house was silent, she sewed. She sewed face masks on a private WhatsApp status to a few trusted friends. 500 naira here, 1,000 naira there. It was how she bought diapers. It was how she bought bread. It was how she was saving to escape. She had 1,000 naira cash saved, hidden under the mattress. Daniel had been suspended. He was home all day, broke, angry, and taking it out on everyone. At 2:17 a.m., her BQ door burst open. Daniel stood there, his eyes red. Princess was behind him, filming with her phone. So this is what you are doing. He saw the sewing machine. He saw the brightly colored mask materials. You are sewing in my house like a common tailor. You are embarrassing me. Daniel, please, Grace whispered, trying to cover her work. I need to feed my son. Feed your son. Am I not trying? You are making me look weak, that I cannot control my house. Princess giggled, the phone light shining in Grace's eyes. She's a tailor, oh. Edith's wife is a tailor. Shame. All those degrees you are now sewing. I am an accountant, she screamed, her voice finally breaking. You took my job. You took my money. You took my home. You left me with nothing. I left you with your life, he roared back. He grabbed the sewing machine. No, please. That's my only hope. That's my 20,000 naira. He lifted it high. Hope. You have no hope. He smashed it on the concrete floor. The plastic and metal shattered. He kicked over her box of materials, scattering threads and cloth everywhere. You will respect me, he yelled. You will stay here and be nothing as I commanded. He grabbed her phone. And this nonsense stops. He saw her WhatsApp. He saw the sales. You've been selling behind my back. He changed the Wi-Fi password. He pulled her SIM card from the phone and snapped it in 2. You are now completely cut off. Let me see how you will buy diapers now. He stormed out. Princess spat on the broken machine parts as she left. Grace collapsed. She was on the floor, surrounded by the ruins of her last hope. Her machine was gone. Her SIM card was gone. Her 1,000 naira cash hidden under the mattress was all she had left. She was at absolute rock bottom. It was in that darkness, on the cold floor of the BQ, that she finally broke. God, Jehovah, you see this. You see how they have humiliated me. You know I didn't deserve this. She held her baby, who was crying from the noise. Father, I am tired. I can't fight anymore. I have no job, no money, no phone, no home. They have taken everything. They have taken my name. I'm leaving it in your hands. God, I am not asking for a miracle. I'm just asking for one person. Send me one helper. Just one. I can't do this alone. If you don't help me now, she whispered, her body shaking, I am finished. She fell asleep on the floor, her tears soaking the broken threads, her last 1,000 naira note clutched in her hand. Grace woke up to the sound of the generator. 5 a.m. Her body was stiff, her phone was a useless piece of plastic. The broken sewing machine was a tombstone in the corner. She felt empty, hollowed out. She had to get out. She had to buy milk. Her son was hungry. She took her 1,000 naira note, wrapped her son on her back, and started the long walk to the bus stop. This was the morning she met Daniel at the ATM. The morning he begged her for that same 1,000 naira. She gave it to him. She gave him the last money she had on earth. Why? Because she was broken. She had nothing left to fight with. Let him take it. Let God see this too. He snatched the money, bought his fuel, and sped off, leaving her in the exhaust fumes. She stood by the roadside at 6 a.m. with no money for the bus, no money for food. She had to trek back to the estate. She was trekking past the main house when Daniel's driver Emmanuel pulled up beside her. He was supposed to be washing the car. "Madam," he said, his voice urgent. He killed the engine. Grace flinched. "Emmanuel, please, I don't want any trouble. He will see us." "Oga is not here. He has gone for a meeting. He's finished, madam, he's finished." Something in his voice made her stop. She looked at his face. This was not just a driver. She remembered 2 years ago, the old estate gateman, Pa Michael, clutching his side, groaning. His appendix had burst. Daniel had refused to help. "Is that my problem? Tell him to go to a government hospital." Grace had slipped out later. She had given the gateman's wife her last 20,000 naira from a bonus. "For the surgery," she whispered. "Don't tell Oga." That gateman was Emmanuel's father. "Emmanuel," she whispered. "He is my father. Madam, you saved his life." Emmanuel's eyes were fierce. "My father told me to watch over you. I have been gathering everything. I was just waiting for the right time." He pulled out his own smartphone. "Oga was sacked 2 days ago, officially. That's why he's mad. He was stealing from the company." Grace, her head spinning. "Stealing? He has a final Zoom board meeting this morning at 9 a.m. He thinks he can beg them to get his benefits. He thinks they don't know everything." Emmanuel pressed play on a voice note. It was Daniel's voice, loud and bragging to his friend Kule, recorded in the back of the Range Rover. "This company is my own. I'd rather burn the company to the ground than give Grace 1 kobo of my settlement. She thinks she's smart. I've moved 47 million naira to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. By the time they find out, I'll be in London with Princess." Grace put her hand over her mouth. "He was going to leave you with nothing," Emmanuel said, his voice hard. "He was going to frame you." "Oh my God, the email. My CEO said my name was on documents." "Yes, madam." Emmanuel's face was grim. "He was going to frame you." The revelation and instruction. How did you?" "I am Oga's driver," Emmanuel said. "He treats me like furniture. He leaves his briefcases in the car. He makes calls on speakerphone. He shouts his passwords. He is arrogant." He showed him a file on his phone, a PDF.
"He's careless, madam. He left his laptop in the car last week. I copied his hard drive. I scanned everything. His offshore bank statements, the forged signatures, the list of all the money he diverted, and 47 million. Grace, the BSc accountant, stared at the numbers. The fraud was so clear, so simple, so arrogant. He had been creating fake vendor invoices and routing the payments using a forged signature. Her signature. "Madam," Emmanuel said, "you prayed last night. I heard you." How did you know?" "My BQ room is next to yours. The wall is thin. I heard you crying to God. You asked for 1 helper." He reached into his glove compartment. He pulled out a small new techno phone. "This is for you. It's fully charged and has data. The company chairman, Chief Owolowo, is a good man. I sent him a small part of the evidence last night, just the voice note. He is waiting for the rest. He is waiting for you." "Me? Why me?" "Because Daniel used your name, madam. You are the key witness." What do we do?" "Here's the plan," Emmanuel said, his voice quick. "I am the one hosting the Zoom call. Oga thinks I'm just his houseboy who will set up the laptop. He doesn't know I'm the one who sent the link to the chairman." He handed her the phone. "The meeting is at 9 a.m. Go back to the BQ, lock the door, wait for the link. I will send it to this new phone." He reached into his pocket and pushed a wad of cash into her hand. "This is 10,000 naira. It is from my own salary." "Emmanuel, I can't. This is your money." "Madam, you saved my father. This is not a gift. This is God's provision. This is justice. Go and buy food for you and David." I. Be ready. Today, the same people who watched you suffer will watch you rise. The Bible I read says, "The expectation of the wicked shall be cut short." He started the car. "Now I must go and wash this car before he comes back. He cannot know." "Act normal. Today, everything changes. Momentum building. Grace walked back to the BQ, her legs shaking. She held the new phone, the 10,000 naira, and the 47 million naira secret. She locked the door. For the first time in months, she was not just a victim. She was a witness. She used 500 naira to buy bread and eggs from the Maishago by the gate, using Emmanuel's phone to do a transfer. She ate, she fed her son. She changed into the only clean, professional-looking blouse she had left. She waited. Daniel came back shouting. He was on the phone with his lawyer, screaming about defamation and illegal suspension. "Emmanuel," he roared, "set up the Zoom call in the dining room and bring me whiskey. I need to calm my nerves." "Yes, Oga." Emmanuel's voice was calm. Grace watched from her BQ window. At 8:45 a.m., the new phone buzzed. It was a WhatsApp message from Emmanuel. "It's time. The chairman is on. The board is on." A moment later, a Zoom link appeared. "Wait for my signal. Do not turn on your camera. God is with you, madam." Grace took a deep breath. She looked at her son sleeping peacefully. "This is for you," she whispered, and she clicked Join Meeting. The venue was a virtual conference room, a Zoom call, but it was more real than any courtroom. On the screen were the faces of the most powerful people in Daniel's industry. The chairman, Chief Owolawo, his face like carved wood, the entire board of directors. The partners from the UK, their faces pale and serious. Daniel was on the screen, projected from the head of his marble dining table. He wore his best Brioni suit. He was trying to look calm, but a bit of sweat was rolling down his temple. "Gentlemen," Daniel said, his voice unctuous and pleading, "I understand the suspension. It was a shock, but these market fluctuations, they are beyond my control. I'm a victim of the circumstances." In the background, Princess, in a pink tracksuit, walked back and forth. She was packing her Louis Vuitton suitcases for their UK trip. She was unaware that the camera could see her. Grace was in the meeting, her name listed as GO. Her camera and microphone were off. Daniel hadn't noticed. Chief Owolowo leaned forward. "Daniel," he said, his voice gravelly, "this isn't about market fluctuations. This is about 47 million naira." Daniel's face froze. "Sir, I don't know what you mean. That's a wild accusation." "You don't? Then let's clarify. Emmanuel, are you there?" Emmanuel unmuted himself from the corner of the dining room where he stood by the laptop. "Yes, sir, I am here." "This is ridiculous," Daniel yelled. "You are asking my driver to speak. Chairman, this is beneath us." "Emmanuel," the chairman repeated, his voice booming, "share the presentation you sent me." "Yes, sir." He shared his screen. The first thing that appeared was the PDF, the Cayman Islands offshore account, Okoli Global Projects, sole signature, Daniel Okoli. The board members leaned into their cameras. "That's fake!" Daniel shouted, standing up. "My driver faked that. He's trying to blackmail me." "Is it, sir?" Emmanuel said. He clicked to the next slide. It was a bank statement, a transfer of 15 million naira from the company account. The recipient, Princess Luxury Hair. The board member saw Princess in the background, who had just zipped a suitcase. She looked up, confused. "He's lying," Daniel roared. "Am I, sir?" Emmanuel said. He clicked to the next slide. It was a signature approval form, a 10 million naira transfer. The signature was clear. Grace Okoli. "This," Emmanuel said, "is where it gets interesting." The chairman spoke. "Mrs. Okoli, are you on this call?" Grace unmuted herself. "Yes, sir, I am here." Daniel's head snapped towards Emmanuel. "You, Mrs. Grace Okoli," the chairman said, his voice gentle, "please turn on your camera." Grace turned it on. The board did not see a mansion. They saw a small, damp room. They saw a hard cut. They saw a baby in her arms. They saw the broken sewing machine in the corner. A woman on the board gasped. Mrs. Okoli, the chairman said, did you sign this document? Grace looked into the camera. Her voice was quiet, but it was clear and it was strong. No, sir. I have not signed any company document in 4 months. My husband forced me to resign the day he was promoted. He locked me in this maid's room. That is my forged signature. I am an accountant, sir. I would never sign off on a fake vendor. The board was silent. They saw her. They saw the BQ. They saw the baby. She's lying, Daniel screamed, lunging at the laptop. She's a bitter, jealous wife. She's mentally unstable. I told you. One last thing, sir, Emmanuel said. He stopped sharing the PDF and he pressed play on the voice note. Daniel's voice filled the Zoom call, loud, arrogant. I'd rather burn the company to the ground than give Grace 1 kobo. I've moved 47 million naira to an offshore account. By the time they find out, I'll be in London with Princess. The silence was absolute. Daniel stood frozen, his own voice condemning him. Princess in the background finally understood. Her hands flew to her mouth. The suitcases, the UK trip, it was all on the screen. Gentlemen, the chairman said, it seems we have a confession. He looked at Daniel. You are a thief and you are a fool. You can't prove this, Daniel whispered, sinking into his chair. It's a deep fake, my driver. We don't have to, the chairman said. We took the liberty of inviting one more guest. A new participant joined the Zoom call. The icon was the official seal of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The participant unmuted. Mr. Daniel Okoli, this is Officer Aziz from the Economic and Financial Crisis Commission, FECC. We have been listening for the last 10 minutes. We have a copy of that PDF and that voice note. We are at your gate. Daniel's face dissolved. No, please, Chairman, please, it's a mistake. I can pay it back. You didn't just steal from us, Daniel, the chairman said, his voice cold as ice. You humiliated an innocent woman. You used her good name to cover your crimes. You locked a new mother in a BQ. You are a disgrace. Through Daniel's own webcam, the entire board, the UK partners, and Grace watched. The front door of the mansion burst open. EFCC officers in their red vests stormed into the dining room. Daniel Okoli, please, it's a misunderstanding. She is the one. You are under arrest for fraud, forgery, and embezzlement in the amount of 47 million naira. They pulled his hands behind his back. The click of the handcuffs was loud enough for the laptop's microphone to pick up. Princess screamed, grabbed her handbag, and ran. The laptop, an officer said, seize it as evidence. The last thing the board saw was Daniel's face contorted in terror as he was marched out of his own house in cuffs. His laptop slammed shut. The screen went black. The viral video from the estate security camera of a big man
in a Brioni suit being forced into an EFCC van was on Instablog Ninja before lunch. Princess's Instagram Live, which she started in a panic from the airport, was flooded with comments. They weren't sympathetic, they were memes. Side chick solidarity, from Banana Island to Kirikiri, and thousands of emojis. Her visa to the UK was revoked by the embassy that afternoon, citing association with a person of interest in a federal fraud case. Grace sat in the BQ. The Zoom call ended. She looked at her son. It's over, she whispered. It's finally over. The new phone buzzed. It was a call from Chief Owolowo, the chairman. Mrs. Okoli, Grace, he said, his voice heavy. We have failed you. As a board, we are horrified. We saw the room you are in. We saw your baby. No human being deserves that. Grace was quiet, just listening. The company will be pursuing Daniel to the full extent of the law. But that is not your problem. We owe you. Sir, you don't owe me anything. Yes, we do. He used your good name.
He used our company to humiliate you. We are wiring 5 million naira to your account immediately, not as charity, as compensation for the forgery, the defamation, and the trauma." He paused, "And I have already spoken to my friend, the GMD at UBA. He is starting a new forensic audit division. He needs someone with your skills, your integrity. He will be calling you." Grace broke down, her tears no longer of pain, but of release. "Thank you, sir. Thank you." Emmanuel knocked on her door. He had a box of food from the main house. "It's empty, madam," he said, a small smile on his face. "The EFCC has sealed the property, but I saved you and David breakfast." 6 months later, the 9 a.m. sun streamed into a clean, bright 2-bedroom flat in Bagada. The modest apartment was hers, paid for, clean tiles, working AC, and a small, neat kitchen with a full fridge. It was not a mansion, but it was home, and it was peaceful. Grace sat at her new work desk, a laptop open to a complex spreadsheet. She was a senior forensic auditor for UBA. She worked remotely. She hunted for men just like Daniel. Her son, David, goggled happily in his playpen, surrounded by new toys. Her phone buzzed. She looked at it. UBA credit alert. Amount 850,000 naira. Desk NOV 2025 salary. She smiled, a real peaceful smile, and took a sip of her coffee. A Lagos BRT bus was stuck in traffic on Ikorodu Road. Inside, Daniel Okoli, out on bail but his accounts frozen, his case pending, looked at the small GoTV screen on the bus. It glitched. Subscription expired. The screen flashed. He looked out the window, his face thin, his suit rumpled. A clean, modest Toyota Corolla drove past him in the next lane. The woman driving looked familiar. She was sipping from a cup. She looked happy. She was on a phone call, laughing. He squinted. It was Grace. She didn't see him. She was focused on the road ahead, her son safe in his car seat in the back. The bus lurched forward. He watched her drive away towards her new life until she was just another car. This story is real. It's happening in Lekki, in Abuja, in boardrooms and in BQs. Looking back, Grace understood. Your seed will speak for you. That 20,000 naira for a gate man's son's surgery 2 years ago was a seed. She planted it in kindness and it grew into her helper, her evidence, and her deliverance. Your kindness, even when you are suffering, is never wasted. What you do in the dark will come to light. Daniel thought he was secure. Princess thought she was safe. But technology, a Zoom call, a voice note, a shared PDF brought their private wickedness into the public square. You can't build a life on someone else's pain. God's delay is not denial. Grace prayed in the church, in the hospital, in the BQ. The answer didn't come. But at her lowest point, at 2 a.m. with a broken sewing machine, her prayer finally broke through. Help was already positioned. The helper was already in the house. Do not let anyone retire your destiny. The full-time queen email was a prison sentence. Your skills, your degree, your purpose, they are your own. No man can give them and no man should take them away. Daniel locked her in a BQ. The EFCC sealed his mansion. He cut off her money. His accounts are now frozen. Princess live streamed her shame. Her own downfall became a viral meme. Justice in the end will always mirror the crime. Closing call to action. If you are going through your own fire right now, hold on. Your helper may be the driver you were kind to. Your evidence may be the text message you saved. Keep your integrity. Don't stop praying. The same people who watch you suffer will watch you rise. Share this story. Someone needs to hear it today.